and we are live. So I'm going to wait for a number of individuals to jump on real quick. I'm going to tune in on my phone so I can monitor the comments. And if you have comments, please send them in to us while we're here. We got the one and only Rick Speck out of Safe and Just, Michigan. We see his face every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. to have our discussions here. He's my co-host in this partnership between Fresh Coast Alliance and Safe and Just, Michigan. And then today we have Jose Burgos. Burgos. Okay. So we have him here today, straight out of SADO organization. Many of you, if you're not familiar with SADO, they are located over in the east side of the state. And it's an acronym for State Appellate Defender's Office. And I have a little story about SADO because they helped me out a lot while I was in prison. And so, Jose, just while I'm thinking about it, I want to get it off my head. Did you know Sherry Guess?
Sherry Guess. I don't know if she's still there or not.
Okay, she probably is retired. But she helped me out on my delivery of cocaine charge. It was on a technicality and got me back in the courts, and I got 5 years off my sentence. So that was huge. I was thankful for SADO at that time. I'm like, SADO handles their business. That 5 years, when you think about it, it's like, that's just a meatball. But when you're in there doing the bid, you're off into the teenage years. 5 years coming off.
5 years is 5 years, yeah.
Ain't no doubt about it. I think I was at 17 and a half at the time, and the 5 came off and left me with 12 and a half years. So that was huge. All right, so I'm going to stop talking. Let's get into this. Rick, why don't you introduce yourself? Take about 30 seconds.
First. Let's say congratulations to Nate, right? Like, the reason we weren't here last week was because he brought his second child into the world. Him and his wife.
Congratulations. Second one within the marriage.
Second one in the marriage. Third child. Right. Oh yeah, no, I'm not precious, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So two sons, a daughter. Like you're killing it out there, man. Just congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Champ stepped on the scene last week, Tuesday, at 9.2 ounces, 9 pounds, 2 ounces. Big boy. And he's doing great right now. I told somebody, I said, yeah, Champ. I said, we got blessed. He's a sleeper. The thing is, I just don't wake up in the middle of the night. Sarah looked at me like I was crazy. like a sleeper? Don't be telling people that. I'm like, well, I didn't hear anything. I got up like 4 times. So I said, I love you, baby. You're so amazing, Well, good. Well, thank you for that. We're blessed. I mean, God's blessed us tremendously with our children. And we get an opportunity to help steward their lives and raise up young world changers and history makers to go out and impact the world, Cool. Thanks for that, Rick. Rick, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. My name is Rick Speck, Community Engagement Specialist for Safe and Just, Michigan. Just over 3 months now. I've been with them formerly with the ACLU. Prior to that, with Luck Inc., nonprofit I helped co-found with 2 other returned citizens. Formerly incarcerated, served 18 and a half years over 3 bits. Last one lasted 15 years where I met Nate. We had a big win yesterday at Safe and Just, so I'm really happy about that. Clean slate passed through the Senate Judiciary Committee, so it's going full Senate for a vote. So that was huge for us. Just feeling blessed. Spent Father's Day with my dad over the weekend. Watched him sworn in as new commander at the American Legion. So it was just a great. It's been a great week. Came home. My wife made lamb chops and shrimp on the Barbie. And So, life's good, just out here counting my blessings, happy to be with you guys today. We have special guest, Jose. So I'm going to pass it off to him. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jose?
All right, I'm Jose Burgos. I'm formerly incarcerated juvenile lifer. I spent 27 years incarcerated. I've been out now almost 2 years now. I've been with SADO, the State Appellate Defender's Office, as a reentry specialist since December. So I've been doing that work. I help clients that are on direct appeal, both juvenile lifers and non-juvenile lifers, with parole processing. You know what I'm saying? As far as the parole prep and just guiding them through the process. Another thing that we do is we do comprehensive reentry plans, where I send the clients an assessments needs form. They basically let me know these are the needs that we're gonna need. I put together a plan for them, and that plan is presented both to judges for those who are going to get resentenced, and to the parole board for those who are going to see the parole board. Very excited to do the work. Very excited to not only non-juvenile lifer clients, but especially the juvenile lifer clients, because I was once part of that group. So, I'm very excited, man, to be able to get involved and help them the very same way a lot of guys that were already out here before me helped me out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to be here with you guys, and just continue to do the work.
Awesome. That's so good, man. So let's jump right in this. Jose, you could lead us off. Some of the people who are watching may not know anything about the juvenile lifer laws having been changed. Give us a little educational history about this. What was it prior to when you got locked up? How was it? How were juveniles who committed certain crimes, how were they treated till the laws changed and how it is now? Give us a little history about that.
Yep. I caught my case in '91. So I came under what was called the automatic waiver law. There was about 9 crimes that if you were under the age of 18, well, actually under the age of like 17, if you were like 14, 15, or 16, you were automatically tried as an adult. Through that process, even though you were tried as an adult, at that time, the judge still had the option of whether to sentence you into the juvenile system to the age of 21 or send you to prison. At some point, several years later, they changed it to where if you committed one of those crimes, it was automatic, adult sentencing. Around 2003, Deborah LaBelle from the ACLU started what's called the Juvenile Life Without Parole Initiative. And basically, she, gathered a lot of information, a lot of data, about how many juvenile lifers were here in Michigan. And they basically started, getting in contact with legislators and stuff like that, and started pushing towards, some law changes to give juveniles an opportunity for release. And the reason why they did that was because throughout the years, a lot of new science was coming out about the underdevelopment of the juvenile brain, how at the time, when you're a kid, you're unable to weigh out the long-term consequences of your crime. So in 2012, in 2005, I think it was, one of the first cases that the United States Supreme Court decided was the Roper case, which was where they abolished the death penalty for those that were under the age of 18. From that case, we ended up with the Florida v. Graham case. That case abolished life without parole for juveniles who committed non-homicide cases. And then eventually in 2012, the United States Supreme Court ruled in the Miller case where they abolished the mandatory aspect of life without parole for juveniles who were convicted of homicide cases. When that happened in 2012, a lot of states weighed in on it differently. Michigan was one of them, where the Attorney General at the time, Bill Schuette, was saying that case was not retroactive, meaning that it wouldn't apply to those juveniles who were already convicted and sentenced to life without parole. So again, the attorneys started working on, cases throughout the country. And then eventually in 2016, the United States Supreme Court ruled in the Louisiana case, the Montgomery case, where they finally said, no, this is retroactive, so it's going to apply to everybody who's already sentenced to life without parole. But even then, even when that happened, we still ran into hurdles, because then it was up to the prosecutors. The Michigan legislature changed the law where it said that if you were a juvenile and you were convicted of a homicide, first-degree murder, it was either 2 sentences you could receive, either a 25 to 40 minimum to 60-year max, or still the life without parole. But the only way that a judge can give you life without parole was if you were deemed to be incorrigible, that you couldn't be helped. It was a very, very rare group of people that the courts said that could still receive that sentence. So once that legislation was passed, then it was up to the county prosecutors to decide, okay, for those who were already convicted and sentenced, which one of these guys do we still seek the life without parole on, and which ones do we concede and say, okay, they can receive a term of years? In Michigan was it was one of the top 3 states in the country with the highest juvenile lifers. Michigan had like 362. Out of that 362 so far, about 100 and some have been resentenced. There's still just a little bit under 200 that are waiting to get resentenced. All the ones that have been released, the majority of the guys are doing great, so.
Jose, what is because I remember hearing those numbers before, like they've only let, a portion out, but we still have a larger portion that's still in. What's the holdup? Why is it, if it's as simple as, let's go back to our sentencing judge back in circuit court, because the laws have changed, what's the holdup? Why is there?
The biggest holdup has been the county prosecutors. Some county prosecutors have taken a very, very, very strong stance on, we're going to drag this thing out. And in my personal belief, I think it's just a way of getting as much time as possible out of these guys before they go back into courts and get resentenced, because the vast majority of juvenile lifers that have received life without parole have records that would, if placed in front of a judge, would automatically, put them in a place where they can get a term of years and get released. And for whatever reasons, I don't know if it's politics, I don't know what it is, but they've been holding it up. One of the biggest holdups, counties like Oakland County, you have the Oakland County prosecutor, Jessica Cooper. She's been holding them a lot. Even here in Wayne County, Kim Worthy. There's still maybe about 50 something guys, or maybe a little bit more, of juvenile lifers in Wayne County that still need to get resentenced. And for political reasons, this is an election year. They don't want to be deemed soft on crime or whatever. You have Genesee County, you have Kent County. So the bigger counties are the ones that have been holding it up.
I think it's important to point out what you said earlier. I did a talk a while back at Cooley Law School with an attorney from Philadelphia, Lauren Fine from YSRP out there, really great youth organization that are working to free juvenile lifers. And what I found out was we're actually second in the country to sentence juveniles to life without the possibility of parole.
Who's number one?
Philadelphia. Right behind City of Brotherly Love. We're right there with like 1 and 2. Right? And I think it's great what you pointed out, because you're right, we are in an election year. And this is obvious what's going on in counties like Oakland and in Wayne. I think the craziest thing that maybe a lot of people don't know, that this population, these juvenile lifers that get out, the rate in which they recidivize is less than 1%. Those are less than, that's a fact. That's not, I didn't just pull that one out, right? Like there's research and I can certainly look that up if
are those facts across the country, or is this just state of Michigan?
No, that's for juvenile lifers everywhere.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, he lifted up a lot of important information, Jose, did when you talked about the research on the brain development. I mean, there's a reason why even in prison we got a positive point when we turn 26. Car insurance today, right? Your car insurance goes down when you turn 26. Why? Because you're fully developed. Your frontal lobe is fully developed. So there's, you know what I mean? And finally, people took this into consideration when we started talking about, juveniles committing these crimes that, you're right, they couldn't foresee based on this action what the long-term implications were. Why? Because they're kids, right? And so when you pointed out lifting up this election year, that's what we need to be doing as a community, right? Of not just formerly incarcerated folks, but as a community as a whole. we need to be asking these prosecutors, why would you, in, say, the Oakland County case, you know, I don't want to give numbers, but I'll say in a great majority of the time, because I don't know the percentage exactly, that eludes me today. But Oakland County has recommended life without the possibility of parole overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
For the cases that they've had. And basically you got Wayne and Oakland are like 1-2 in the state for the counties that have prosecuted the most juveniles and given them life without the possibility of parole. So we're talking about typically the 2 worst actors in the state. Both of them are what? Up for election, and they both have people running against them.
Yeah.
And they both have people from their own party running against them. So it's not a blue-red thing. Like, they're both Democratic candidates. I use that term loosely in these instances, right? And so, yeah, you have a challenger with against Kim Worthy and Valerie Burton Harris. You have a challenger for Jessica Cooper and Karen McDonald. And so, yeah, I just urge people to take a look at all of these races, right? Races that are in their area, and start to ask prosecutors these questions. Why, if this population recidivates less than 1%, why are so many people strongly opposing these paroles for these folks, right? Like, why?
Let me ask you this question then. What would you guys deem as appropriate, fair, just for a juvenile who commits a murder? You know, like if we're sitting here talking with prosecutors, right? And reason say, okay, well, they're thinking, well, I'm just not going to let them go. You know, they killed someone. How do you have a conversation? What would you guys present as an alternative to life without the possibility? What, 10 years, 20 years? What would you guys say?
Me personally, you know, having experienced the prison situation at such a young age, my personal belief is that children don't belong in prison. It's not a place that you know, prison is not a place that helps you out at all. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids go in there. Unfortunately, a lot of them become victims of sexual violence. So there's been kids that went in prison that commit suicide. You know, the prison system, the adult prison system, was not built for children. The corrections officers that work in correction facilities are not trained to deal with children. So what happens is when they go in there at such a young age, you know, there's a you know, it becomes very combative because you're still maturing as a kid, but as an officer, as a correctional officer, and dealing with that child, they're not trained to you know what I'm saying. So they deal with you very, very harshly. If I had a choice in it, I would say a juvenile system that maybe kept them till at the age of 26. You know what I'm saying, and just you know. Go back at that age and you know, assess them to make sure, you know, to see where they're at mentally, see if they matured, you know what I'm saying? Because unfortunately, maybe there is 1 or 2 in there, you know what I'm saying, who unfortunately doesn't ever, you know what I'm saying, grow out of, you know, that mindset. But the vast majority of the juveniles, you know, you would think that after literally kids serving all those years, that would be the group that would come out here, man, and be mentally all messed up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. A lot of people believe that too.
Exactly. We've proven, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, every single time a guy comes out here, you know, they end up doing great, man. There's a lot of former juvenile lifers that are working with, you know, different organizations. There's some that have created their own organizations. There are some that are now their own business, you know, business owners, not only in Michigan, but throughout the country. So I don't think, I personally don't believe that prison is the solution. I understand that we have to be held accountable for the things that we do. But I think that, you know, treating those children, because a lot of times they come from like a lot of broken homes. They come from, you know what I'm saying, low income communities. There's a lot of stuff, man, that goes into, you know, a kid doesn't just wake up one day and decide, okay, you know what, this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? There's problems that you know, led him to do the things that he did. You know what I'm saying? I think those are the things that we need to key in on when we're talking about children. You know, judges, prosecutors, legislators, you know, they're quick to say, yeah, throw them in prison. You know what I'm saying? But I guarantee you, if it was one of their children, it'd be a whole different ballgame. You know what I'm saying? They're so disconnected to, you know, why the reasons why these kids end up in prison in the first place, and that's why it's so easy for them to put down and say, yeah, life without parole or 20 or 30, 40 years, you know what I'm saying? As of right now, the legislation is 25 years, you know what I'm saying? That's the law of Michigan. So if it has to be a prison sentence, you know what I'm saying, then I would say that would be the one, you know, to go with.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. Because the brain hasn't developed, you're not processing thoughts through your mind as a person who's fully mature and grown to make a quality decision, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I you know, and I share this with people a lot. When I went to prison, one of the first times when I got classified to get a job in prison was I was trying to get a job in the factories at MSI. And I still have the paperwork here in my house where they told me that I could not work in the factory because it was against child labor laws.
No.
Yeah, I still have the paper with that on there. You know
they sent you there and then told you.
So I was old enough to be sent to prison, but I wasn't old enough to work in a prison factory. You know what I'm saying? So you know, just little things like that, man. Just, you know, they know that that's not the place, man, for kids.
Or you can't vote, but you can pay taxes, though.
Exactly. You know, I can go to prison, but I can't buy cigarettes. You know?
Right. That is a class.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I think you're right, though. I think that when the question you posed about like what's appropriate, you know, I think Jose's spot on. It's not prison, right? It may be a place, obviously, where folks are pulled from society, right? But it should be a place that does provide healing, that does provide resources, that does help, you know, these young men and women to come back from this worst choice, right? This bad act. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it was the person that actually committed it or the person that was the accessory to it. I mean, because there are still people that are serving these sentences that weren't necessarily the perpetrator as far as like pulling the trigger, right? But they're still doing life without the possibility of parole. Yeah. You know, and so we want to restore, right? Like we want to habilitate, maybe not rehabilitate, because rehabilitate is to what? Bring back things to their previous state. Old, but that's not always the case. We don't always want that, right? Like, so sometimes we have to habilitate. We have to give them new skills, new tools, help them understand what they can become, that this doesn't have to be the end, you know? But for guys like you, Jose, that were put in there and thrived and overcame and were resilient, you know what I mean? Like, you're right. Nobody should have to go through that as a child. Mm-hmm. Nobody should be thrust into an environment as a 16, 17, I don't even care, 18-year-old. Mm-hmm. Realistically, in a men's prison where it's dog eat dog, right? Strong survive, like all those little sayings that are true, right? Why, if we profess to care so much about our youth, do we put them in those situations as a country? Yeah. And it's not just Michigan that's you know, a bad actor, but we as a country do this, and we like to see it today with these protests. We justify bad behavior happening to folks because they did something wrong one time. Like,
or the alternative, let's just say you take them out of the adult system, then you privatize like a Wackenhut Corporation, right? They remember in Baldwin. Yeah. So you privatize here, and then you have an outside group like Wackenhut Corporation came up from Florida. And I hear and think all of the confusion that went on there. I mean, we've heard stories, and I remember when they closed it down in 2005, in 2005 when they closed it down, and the guys were coming out. I remember a lot of them came to MTU because we still had the 26 and under, and after I'd left level 4, I landed there. But there was all the stories you heard about the staff being undertrained. It was a joke, and the staff was getting paid like $12, $13 an hour. Yeah. Right. So that just adds a whole nother element to the chaos and and the whole environment. The atmosphere was not healthy in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Right. So now you're in a situation like this. It's like we're the potential to have individuals who already come from an unstructured life, have seen a lot of craziness. There's trauma that's impacted. Now you're in another traumatic situation. The potential of going the wrong way is very, very real in terms as opposed to restoring and bringing an individual back to society healthy. You know what I mean? That just
and you know, that prison was built based on a prediction that there was going to be a wave of children, you know, the ones that they call super predators. So you know what, we're going to build this facility, and we're basically, they were just waiting on all those kids to come in, and it never came to, you know what I'm saying, pass. When that prison was open, half of it was empty. You know what I'm saying? So it was really a very, very, very waste of taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
But I want to get back real quick to something that Rick said about that juvenile lifer population. There's a very, very big, large group of that population that weren't even the ones who actually pulled the trigger. You know what I'm saying? These were kids who were hanging out with adults. And the adults, because, you know, they knew the system or whatever, they were able to take, you know what I'm saying, plea bargains that allowed them to plead guilty to lesser crimes. And they ended up getting, you know what I'm saying, lesser time. And then the child who wasn't the trigger man, he was just there, you know what I'm saying, he ends up going to trial on first-degree murder and gets found guilty, and he's doing life without parole. Like, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. If you have a 40-year-old who took a child, committed a crime, that 40-year-old was the one who actually pulled the trigger, but he only ends up getting 10 years, and the kid ends up getting life without parole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with it. There's no way you can explain that. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And it's all legal. That's the worst part.
Exactly.
It's all legal.
Yeah. And it's the prosecutors.
Unconscionable, but legal nonetheless.
It's the prosecutors.
Right?
It's the prosecutors. They're the ones who have the power to decide, you know what I'm saying, the charges and stuff like that, man. They're the ones that are doing that. They have too much power.
Prosecutors got all the juice, right? They decide what charges, what, you know, recommend what bill. They have the juice. It ain't the judge at that point, right? The judge is going to pass down sentence after what? The prosecutors tried the case.
Right.
That's why I say, you know, we have to be paying attention right now for these prosecutor races, right? I mean, you want to reduce mass incarceration? Well, let's look at the way we start sending them, right, from the gate. You know what I mean? And that's going to, I mean, and I just think it's going to be an interesting time here in Michigan, because even there over there with you too, right, Nate? You guys got a prosecutor race going, right?
Yeah,
DJ Hilson, correct?
Yeah, we've been blessed with DJ. I mean, he's about justice. He stands for it. He represents. You know, we're blessed over here to have him as our county prosecutor. You know, I mean, he's a true champion of this conversation that we're having. He's a champion of that. You know what I mean? And yeah, so yeah, we're good. Yeah, he's on the running for election this year against someone. So we're hoping and praying he's going to be in. He helps us out a lot with what we do, and vice versa, where we've gone to speak at the prison together, you know, out here in Muskegon, and we do local high schools together. We do a number of things. So yeah, it's really huge. So let's transition into the reentry process. Now, the juvenile lifers law, it's changed. Individuals are coming home. Someone comes home from a resources from the state perspective. When you come home, what's out here when individuals come home off of the?
Should I share the screen while Jose answers this? Should I pull that up?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Jose.
Yep. With SADO, I mean, there isn't a lot of resources, but at SADO's doing a lot of great things. Not only are they representing these juvenile lifers during, you know what I'm saying, the resentencing process and things of that nature. Hold on, I think I lost my video. Oh, that's cool. But they also are, we hold monthly meetings on their workshops. 1 second here. Okay, there it is. Oh yeah, we have workshops, monthly workshops. These workshops, I mean, right now during the COVID-19 situation, we haven't been holding them at the office, but we have been doing it online, Zoom meetings. And these workshops, like every month, we have a different topic. So for example, like this month, it may be about taxes. The next month may be about entrepreneurship, how to properly use phones. You know, these are guys that have been in prison, man, 30, 40 years, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of them don't know like technology. So that's one of the things that we do at the reentry program there at SADO. You have like interns and stuff like that, man, that they actually are hands-on with some of these guys that are coming home. that need rides to like Secretary of State to get IDs and stuff like that. So that's one of the things we're doing there at SADO with the reentry program. Another thing that just started, as you see on the screen here, they had some interns that knew some people who were willing to volunteer and put together this Project Reentry. It's called a service locator. And basically you go onto the SADO website at sado.org, and this Project Reentry service locator, you go in here, you can either do two things. You can either choose it by category, or you can just put near me. It's about 600 organizations. They've all been contacted to make sure that their resources and everything and their contact information is updated. But it's very easy to use, man. You can go on here. You can employment, for legal assistance, whatever the needs are. And I think it's very important. I think it's very important to just have all these resources all in one location, and easy to navigate for those coming home from prison.
So did this cover every county?
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa. Scroll back up to the top there. I saw.
You know them people? You
see where it says 7x7 Life Recovery Muskegon?
Yeah.
The name has been changed to Fresh Coast Alliance. So whoever's in control of this app, make sure they change it to we rebranded about a year and a half ago.
Okay, I'll pass it on to my supervisor. Yeah, they periodically check them to make sure the information is updated. They also anytime something new comes up, they'll add it to the list. You know what I'm saying? So we encourage those who do know of resources that can be added to this list to contact us there at SADO's Project Reentry.
Awesome.
So I put in a zip code, and then it pulled up employment services. It pulled up 3 as soon as I put 48226.
Okay.
HMSA, MRS, and then Wayne County Veterans Affairs.
Awesome. Calvin University put something together like this as well over here in Grand Rapids for the I think they've done the whole state, or they're almost to doing the whole state, but they did something almost identical to this. This is awesome, man.
Yeah, I've seen it. I seen the one. I recently just seen the one that they created. And matter of fact, I actually used it. And when I was looking for a resource for one of my clients, I actually used their program as well.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. So check it out. If you recently have come home and you're on here watching right now, make sure, or if you have a family member is getting ready to come home and you're watching the program right now, make sure you get this Project Reentry, and you can get it at www.sado.org, and check them out on Facebook. They'll get the information to you. And I see Kate, you're awesome. I saw you just put the reentry service locator in the comment section. So make sure if you got family or you just recently come home, make sure you get on here and check this out if you need help with resources and get connected with it.
And if you know of some resources that aren't listed, get with SADO, let them know. Get with that organization, get them on this locator so that if you know of agencies that are out there that are doing good work for folks coming home, right? Like, let's get them connected with SADO so they can get on this, so that people can actually.
Yeah. I was going to say, now more than ever, because of the COVID-19 situation, now more than ever, these resources are very important. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that guys are having problems with now coming home is, like, for example, the Secretary of States are closed, where they can't get no IDs. I know recently, I think the Secretary of State and the MDOC have, within days, I just seen it on the news where they're saying that they're now giving, prior to getting released, they're now getting actual state IDs. So that's good. But these guys, now more than ever, these these resources are very important for these guys that are coming home during this time.
Awesome. That's so good right there. Yes. And if whatever county you're in watching, if you know of different organizations that are resources to those coming home, make sure you get in contact with SADO. Let them know so they can contact them and verify that they could come on, that they can put them on their service locator. That's awesome. I like that, man.
Yeah.
So
that's good stuff, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's because you think of so many guys who come. I was technically challenged when I first came home. Listen, my first day,
Technically, you're still challenged.
I'm still
Look, yeah, I still am challenged. That is true. I went up to the school, right? First day out, so I go to local high school because I had to get a form of ID. So they said, go up there and get your school transcripts, and we'll take that as a form of ID. I go up there. The kids have headphones on, and they had these phones like this. In my mind, listen, when I got back in the car, I asked my sister, I'm like, man, they changed the rules a lot. They let the kids play with Game Boys up there at school. A Game Boy, it was a phone. They were on their text.
Yeah.
I had no clue, man. I had no clue. So this is huge when everything's all in one particular app and you can find all that stuff. That's awesome. Good stuff. So, Jose, moving forward, what are some things that individuals can do to help support the juvenile life? Like Rick had mentioned, both of you mentioned about contacting prosecutors, during election season, seeing what people's stance are. Is there anything else individuals can do to help with the transition, help with just supporting what's happening and championing what you guys are doing?
One of the organizations, that we partnered up with is the Youth Justice Fund. That's directed by Aaron Kinzo. It's a great organization. It's a nonprofit organization, and they help juvenile lifers that are, or even if, as long as you were a child prior to getting, incarcerated, that organization specifically helps that population. They're doing great work. They recently hired Mario Bueno as their community engagement coordinator. So that's great. Congratulations to him. So that organization, the biggest needs that they need is, to donate funds to them. They help with, finances for whatever that juvenile lifer is going to need. They walk them through the process of getting their vital documents if they need them, assist them with housing, assist them with obtaining vehicles and stuff like that, man. So it's a great organization. SADO is another one where we do as much as we can for them. So you can always contact us if you have resources or whatever, man. They can help these guys. But I think those two are one of the main organizations right now that are doing a lot of good work with the juvenile lifers.
We're going to have Aaron on in a couple weeks. As soon as he gets back from Europe, from picking up his daughter, he'll be coming on, and we'll have a good discussion about.
Good. Well, good stuff. Appreciate you guys, man, coming on here, Jose, and
no problem
with us and sharing this information. We do have the link is in the comments below, so people are able to get connected with the Reentry Services Locator. So make sure you go on there, check SADO out on their website, and also check out their Facebook page. Make sure you like it and follow them so you can stay up to date with what's happening there. Check out Safe and Just Michigan as well, so you can stay up to date, especially with the clean slate wins happening yesterday. So now, Rick, with that being passed yesterday, is that going to go to the Senate floor now?
That's going to the full Senate. And, we have other packages of bills that, we are ecstatic that it passed through committee. We're obviously anticipating, good things on the full vote. But we have other bills that are coming, especially with driver's license suspensions, clearing pathways and barriers for that. So I want to encourage everybody, I believe in the comments section, we've added the link. We send out a great monthly newsletter. It's an e-coms newsletter, so it'll come to you digitally. And that gives a lot of updates, what's going on, not just from Safe and Just, but we like to lift up what's happening, with the other organizations that we're partnered with. So check us out and stay in the know.
Awesome. Good stuff. Jose, appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Look forward to in the future coming back on and giving us updates about what's happening.
Likewise.
SADO. Rick, appreciate you co-hosting, man. Appreciate you. And you guys.
Next week, you got Troy. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family. I'm going to have to I'll be at a funeral up in Grand Rapids area, actually next Thursday. So you won't have to see me. You'll have, Dr. Troy Reenstra will be.
Dr. Reenstra will be with us.
Dr. Reenstra will be joining us.
Oh, good.
As your co-host. So yeah, I look forward to watching that myself.
Good deal. Well, it's going to be good. We're going to rock it. I don't know if he'll do as good as you, but I think Troy, he's got potential there. So we'll find out, though. Hey, Facebook, thanks for tuning in, checking us out, and listening to our Thursday morning Criminal Justice Cafe conversation. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a great day. Go and change the world.